She was 6 years old. She stood at the edge of her driveway every single morning. Rain or shine, winter or summer, she never missed a day. And every morning, she raised her tiny hand in a perfect military salute. Not to soldiers, not to a flag. To them, a group of hardened bikers had no idea why a little girl saluted them every morning. Until the morning they stopped to find out. What happened next? It restored my faith in humanity. This story takes place in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Population, just over 16,000 people. The kind of town where everybody knows everybody. Every morning at precisely 7:15 a.m. on the corner of Maple and Birch, something quietly extraordinary was happening. Nobody noticed. Nobody except the bikers. And the question that haunted every single one of them. Why did this little girl salute them like they were heroes? They were about to find out. Let's talk about the Iron Patriots MC. If you pass them on the highway, you might grip your steering wheel a little tighter. You might change lanes. You might avoid eye contact. And you would not be alone. The Iron Patriots were a motorcycle club based out of Clarksburg, West Virginia. 47 members strong. Their patch an eagle over a shield, red, white, and blue. Their motto stitched on the bottom rocker of every vest. For those who cannot fight. These were not criminals. These were not outlaws in the way movies make you think. The Iron Patriots were mostly veterans. Former soldiers, Marines, Navy men who came home from war and found something missing. The brotherhood, the purpose, the feeling that you are part of something bigger than yourself. Their president, a man named Dale Ironside Mercer, had done 2 tours in Afghanistan. He was 53 years old. He had a silver beard that reached his chest. He had hands that looked like they'd built and broken things in equal measure. And he had eyes that didn't miss a single thing. The Iron Patriots weren't just a riding club. They escorted veterans' funerals so protesters couldn't disrupt the grieving. They ran toy drives every Christmas. They visited VA hospitals on weekends. They were the kind of men who looked scary so that scary things wouldn't happen to the people around them. There's a code in real motorcycle culture. Not the Hollywood version. The real one. Loyalty, respect, protect the weak. You handle your own problems. You never leave a brother behind. And you never, ever let a child suffer if you can do something about it. That code is why this story exists. Now meet Lily. Lily James was 7 years old. She had pigtails that her mom braided every morning, even on the hard days. She wore a purple backpack that was almost as big as she was. And she had a gap where her 2 front teeth used to be, the kind of gap that makes a smile look like a celebration. Every school morning, Lily stood at the end of her driveway at 7:15. Her school bus didn't come until 7:35. That 20-minute wait was always the same. She wasn't looking for the bus. She was listening for the engines. Because every weekday morning, the Iron Patriots rode their regular route through town. 47 bikes. Same road, same time. The first time Lily heard them, she was 5. She'd pressed her face against the living room window, eyes wide. All those machines, all that sound, like rolling thunder on a clear day. Her mother, Sarah, had stood behind her. "Don't be scared, baby," Sarah had said softly. "They're good men." Lily had looked at that photo every single day of her life. Her father, Staff Sergeant Daniel James, 101st Airborne Division. He had been deployed overseas before Lily turned 4. She remembered his voice more than his face. She remembered the way he said, "Attention," before he hugged her. Like she was the most important mission he'd ever been assigned. He had taught her to salute before he left. He pressed her little hand into the right shape. Fingers together, palm flat, hand to her brow. "That's how you say I respect you," he told her. "That's how soldiers say I see you." The first morning she saluted them, it was an instinct. The rumble felt like her father. The flags on their bikes looked like everything he stood for. She raised her hand before she even thought about it. And the bikers, they almost didn't believe what they were seeing. But there was something the bikers noticed. Something nobody else on that street could have seen. Her salute was perfect. Not a child's imitation. A real trained military salute. And that meant someone had taught her. Someone who knew exactly how it was done. Did you know that over 200 motorcycle clubs in the United States are made up almost entirely of veterans? These men served, they came home, and they kept serving. Just differently. Keep watching, because what the Iron Patriots discovered about this little girl will completely change how you think about strangers. It became a ritual. Every morning, same spot, same time. Lily would appear at 7:15. And every morning, Dale Mercer would see her first. He rode lead, he always did. He always scanned the road ahead, old military habit. And every morning, about halfway down Maple Street, he'd spot that purple backpack. He started tapping 2 fingers on his handlebar. A small private signal. His way of saying, "Look." The men behind him began to look too. Nobody said anything about it. Not at first. In biker culture, you don't talk about the things that move you, not right away. You let them settle. You let them mean something before you put words to them. But after 3 weeks, Big Tommy Rosario couldn't help himself. Tommy was the club's road captain, 6'4", 300 pounds, tattoos from his knuckles to his neck. He cleared his throat one evening at the clubhouse. "You all see that little girl on Maple," he said. The room went quiet. Every man there nodded. "She salutes us," Tommy said, "every day like we're something." Another member, Marcus Webb, Army veteran, 2 Purple Hearts, stared into his coffee. "We are something," he said quietly. Nobody argued. "That salute is real," Marcus continued. "That's not a kid playing around. Somebody taught her right." Dale Mercer, sitting in the corner, hadn't said a word yet. He set down his drink. "Her dad," he said, "that was all." The room understood. They didn't know Lily's story yet. But veterans know certain things without being told. They know what a child looks like when they're waiting for someone who isn't coming home yet. They know what it looks like when a kid holds on to small rituals because the big things are out of their control. They'd all been that deployed parent. Or they'd known one. Or they'd lost one. Dale made a decision that night. He didn't announce it formally. He just said, "From now on, when we pass her, we acknowledge her. We nod, we wave, we make sure she knows we see her." One of the younger members, a kid named Cody, barely 25, asked why. Dale looked at him with those steady eyes. Because somebody taught her to respect, and respect deserves respect back. Lily stood at the end of her driveway. Purple backpack, pigtails, gap-toothed and serious. Hand rising in that perfect salute. And this time, for the first time, Dale raised 2 fingers from the handlebar in a slow, deliberate salute back. Behind him, one by one, the other riders did the same. 47 men on 47 motorcycles. Acknowledging one small girl. Lily didn't move for a long moment after they passed. Then she turned and ran back to the house. "Mom," she screamed. "Mom, they saw me, they saluted back." Sarah James stood in the kitchen doorway. She put her hand over her mouth. And she cried. Because she knew what that moment meant to her daughter. And she knew what it cost her. every single morning to stand out there and hold it together. Now let's talk about why the Iron Patriots did what they did next. And why it matters. Because a lot of people don't understand motorcycle clubs. They see the leather, the patches, the size, the noise. And they make assumptions. Here's what people don't see. Motorcycle clubs like the Iron Patriots regularly escort the funerals of fallen veterans. They position their bikes in a protective perimeter around grieving families. So that protesters, and yes, they exist, people who would picket a soldier's funeral cannot get close. They don't get paid for this. They take vacation days from their jobs. They drive hundreds of miles. They stand in the rain. They do it because of a code. A code that says, when someone cannot fight for themselves, you fight for them. They do hospital visits. They do charity rides. They do fundraisers for families of fallen first responders. Not for attention. Not for cameras. Because the code demands it. People forget that most of us wore a different uniform first, Marcus Webb would later say in a local newspaper interview. The leather came after, the values were always there. The ritual continued for months. Every morning, every weekday. Lily saluted. The Iron Patriots saluted back. Some mornings, Dale would give a slow honk of his horn, just one, as they passed. Lily started doing a little jump every time it happened. The neighbors noticed. Some waved from their porches. One older gentleman, a Korean War vet named Harold who lived 3 houses down, started coming outside just to watch. He'd nod at the bikes. They'd nod back. It was becoming something. A small, quiet, beautiful something. And then one Tuesday morning in October, it stopped. Dale tapped his handlebar. But there was no purple backpack. The driveway of the yellow house was empty. He kept riding. He didn't say anything. But he looked in his mirror the whole way down the block. Nothing. What happened to Lily? Why wasn't she there? What the bikers discovered when they went looking for her. It will break you. Stay with me. The missing morning sat heavy on the group. Nobody brought it up directly. But everybody was thinking about it. Dale had made a few quiet calls during the day. He knew people in town. He knew the school principal. He knew the mail carrier on that route. What he found out hit him like a freight train. Lily hadn't been at school. She'd been absent for 2 days. Her mother, Sarah James, had been admitted to the hospital the previous Sunday. Kidney failure. Sarah was 34 years old. She had been quietly battling a kidney condition for over a year. She had not told many people. She didn't want to be a burden. Lily was staying with a neighbor, an older woman named Mrs. Calloway, while her mom was in the hospital. And her father, still deployed, with no confirmed return date. He made one more call. "Guys," he said when someone answered, "we've got a situation." Within 20 minutes, 6 Iron Patriots were at the clubhouse. By 9 o'clock, 14 more had arrived. Nobody was told they had to come. They all just showed up. This is what brotherhood looks like in action. Not in movies. Not in speeches. In Tuesday nights when someone needs something and you drop whatever you're doing. "What do we know?" Big Tommy asked. Dale laid it out. Sick mom, deployed dad, 7-year-old kid in a neighbor's house who doesn't understand why her whole world just tilted sideways. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Marcus Webb said, "What do we do?" Dale looked around at the group. "First," he said, "we find out what she needs. Second," he said, "we give it to her." It was that simple. It was always that simple. Mrs. Calloway's house was 3 doors down from Lily's yellow house. It was a Wednesday. Lily had slept badly. She kept dreaming about her mom. She got up at 6. She got dressed by herself, purple shirt, because it was her favorite. She made herself a bowl of cereal because Mrs. Calloway was still asleep. And then she sat at the kitchen table. And she waited. She wasn't thinking about school. She was thinking about whether today was the day. The day her mom would call. The day her dad would somehow, impossibly, be on the other end of the phone. The day something good would happen. At 7:08 she heard something. Faint, far away. But unmistakable. Lily pushed back her chair. She walked to the front door. She opened it. She looked down the road. The way she always did. The way she had done every single morning for 2 years. Except this morning, something was different. They were slowing down. Lily blinked. She had never seen them slow down before. They always rode through at a steady pace, powerful, purposeful. But today, the lead bike was barely moving. And behind it, like a river finding its course, the whole group was slowing too. Lily raised her hand. Old habit, perfect salute. The lead bike stopped. Dale Ironside, Mercer, put down his kickstand. He swung one leg off the bike. He stood up to his full height, 6'2", silver beard, leather vest, and he looked at Lily across 30 feet of asphalt. He raised his hand. A slow, full, formal military salute. Lily didn't move. Her arm was still raised. Her eyes were wide. And then her chin started to tremble. Dale walked toward her. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't performing. He walked the way soldiers walk, with purpose, with weight, with complete attention on the person in front of him. He stopped about 5 feet away. He crouched down so he was at her level. "Hey there," he said. His voice was quiet, rough around the edges, gentle in the middle. "You know who we are." Lily nodded. "The Iron Patriots," she said. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Dale nodded slowly. "That's right," he paused. "And you know what we noticed?" She shook her head. "We noticed you," he said. "Every single morning, rain or shine, you were always there." Lily's eyes filled up. "I didn't think you could see me," she said. "We saw you," Dale said. "We always saw you." He glanced at the house, then back at her. "We heard about your mama," he said. "We're sorry. She's a strong woman, brave just like you." Lily's lip trembled harder. "I miss my dad," she said. It came out small, like she'd been holding it in for a long time and it just found its way out. Dale looked at her for a moment. Then he said the words that would later spread across an entire town. "Your dad is doing his job," Dale said. "He's protecting people who need protecting, and while he's doing that job..." He gestured back at the line of bikers behind him. "We're going to do ours." Lily looked past Dale at all of them. 46 men. Standing still. Waiting. "Why do you salute us?" Dale asked. He asked it gently, genuinely. He'd wanted to know for 2 years. Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she looked at him with the clearest eyes he'd ever seen on anyone. "Because my daddy said," she said. "He said saluting is how you say I see you, and I respect you." She wiped her eye with the back of her hand. "And you have flags on your bikes," she continued. "Like him, and you look brave like him. So I wanted you to know that I see you," she said, "even if nobody else does." Behind him, Big Tommy Rosario, 6'4", 300 pounds, tattoos everywhere, put his hand over his chest. Marcus Webb looked at the sky. Cody, the youngest member, turned away for a moment. Dale cleared his throat. He reached into the inside pocket of his jacket. "This is our patch," he said. "Our symbol. We give these to people who earn our respect." He held it out to her. "You've earned it, Lily." Lily looked at it. She reached out and took it in both hands, very carefully, like it was made of glass. She looked up at him. "How do you know my name?" she asked. Dale smiled for the first time. "Small town," he said. What happened next, in the next 10 minutes on that street, would be talked about in Clarksburg for years. People would describe it as the morning the town changed. But first, you need to know what the bikers had already done. Before they even got on their bikes that morning, they had spent 3 hours the night before making phone calls. Dale had called the hospital not to pry, but to ask how they could help. Tommy had organized a meal rotation. Club members' wives and families would take turns bringing food to Mrs. Calloway's house every day until Sarah came home. Marcus had reached out to a nonprofit that specialized in connecting deployed service members with emergency family support. They had drafted a letter. Collectively, every member who wanted to had added something. A letter to Staff Sergeant Daniel James, somewhere overseas. The letter said, "Your daughter is remarkable. Your family is not alone. We are watching over them until you get home." 47 signatures. They had also made one more arrangement. The most important one. Dale stood back up to his full height. He turned to look at his club. He gave one small nod. 3 bikes pulled forward from the line. They stopped at the end of Mrs. Calloway's driveway. "Lily," Dale said, "you've been riding the school bus for 2 years." She nodded. "Not today," he said. He pointed to the 3 bikes. "Today, the Iron Patriots escort you to school." Mrs. Calloway had appeared in the doorway behind Lily at some point. She had her hand over her mouth. She was crying and not bothering to hide it. Lily spun around. "Can I?" she asked. "Can I go?" Mrs. Calloway laughed through her tears. "Baby," she said, "of course you can." Dale Mercer picked up Lily James and placed her safely on the back of the lead motorcycle. He put a helmet on her head child-sized because they had come prepared. She wrapped her arms around his waist. "Hold on tight," he said. "Okay," she said. And then, on a quiet street in Clarksburg, West Virginia, on a golden October morning, 47 motorcycles began to roll. Neighbors came out of their houses. Harold, the Korean War veteran 3 houses down, stood on his porch. He raised his hand in a salute. Every single biker raised one back. By the time the procession turned onto the main road, people were pulling over on the sidewalk, stopping, watching. Some of them had their phones out. Some of them just stood there, hands on their hearts, not quite understanding what they were seeing but feeling it completely. Lily sat on the back of that motorcycle, and for the first time in weeks, she wasn't scared. She wasn't thinking about the hospital. She wasn't thinking about the distance between her and her father. She felt safe. She felt seen. She felt like she was riding through the world with an army at her back. Teachers stood outside. The principal, a woman named Deborah Holt, stood at the front entrance. She had received a call the night before from the Iron Patriots. She had made some calls of her own. The school staff were lined up, and as the Iron Patriots rolled into the school driveway, the students who were already outside started to cheer. Lily heard it. She looked up from behind Dale's shoulder. All those kids, all those faces looking at her. She had been invisible for so long. The girl with the sick mom and the deployed dad in the quiet house. Today she was visible. "You good?" he asked. Lily nodded. She looked at the pin in her hand. Then she looked at him. "Will you come back tomorrow?" she asked. Dale looked at her for a long moment. "We'll be on Maple Street," he said. "Same time, same place." "You'll see us," he said, "and we'll see you." Lily raised her hand. A perfect military salute. 47 bikers saluted back. The story of what happened on Maple Street did not stay quiet for long. Mrs. Calloway posted about it on Facebook. By noon, it had been shared 300 times. By evening, a local news station had reached out. By the following week, the story had traveled far beyond Clarksburg, West Virginia. But the Iron Patriots weren't thinking about any of that. They were thinking about one thing. Sarah James watched the video from her hospital bed. Someone had filmed the escort from a front porch. 47 bikes, one little girl in purple. She watched it 4 times. And then she called Lily at Mrs. Calloway's. "Baby," she said when Lily answered. "Mama," Lily's voice instant, bright, relieved. "I saw you," Sarah said. "On the video, I saw you on the motorcycle." Lily was quiet for a moment. "Were you scared?" Sarah asked. "No," Lily said. "I felt safe." "Me too, baby," Sarah whispered. "Me too." 3 days later, the Iron Patriots organized something else. They escorted Sarah James home from the hospital. Every mile of that drive, she was flanked by bikes. She looked out the window the whole way. She kept touching her own face, like she was checking if it was real. When they pulled up to the yellow house on Maple Street, Lily was waiting on the porch. She ran down the steps the second the car door opened. Dale Mercer stood off to the side. He did not intrude on the moment. He just watched. He had a daughter of his own. She was 22 now, lived across the state. He didn't see her enough. He made a mental note to call her that night. The nonprofit Marcus had contacted came through. Family services were arranged. A support coordinator began checking in weekly. The club's meal rotation ran for 6 weeks. Even after Sarah was strong enough to cook again, the food kept coming. Because by then, it wasn't obligation. It was relationship. Lily started calling some of the bikers her uncles. Big Tommy was Uncle Tommy. He called her Little General. Staff Sergeant Daniel James sat in a communications tent. He had received the letter. All 47 signatures. He had read it twice. Then he had folded it very carefully and put it in his breast pocket. He kept it there for the rest of his deployment. Next to his heart. The reporter asked Dale what he wanted people to take away from all of this. Dale was quiet for a moment. He turned his coffee mug in his hands. "People see the leather," he said. "They see the patches. They see 40 guys on loud bikes and they think trouble." "I get it," he said. "I used to be scared of us too before I was one of us." He almost smiled. "But most of us, we're just guys who needed a mission after the military. We needed a reason to keep serving, a reason to stay sharp, a reason to watch out for somebody." He looked out the diner window. "That little girl gave us a reason," he said. "She reminded us every single morning why we do this. She saw us," he said. "Not the leather, not the noise, us. And when you're seen like that, really seen, you want to be worthy of it." "What would you say to her?" the reporter asked. "If you could say one thing." Dale thought about it. "I'd say, your dad is going to come home to a daughter who already knows what honor looks like. She didn't learn that in school. She learned it from watching, from paying attention." He paused. "She learned it from him." "People say bikers are misunderstood," Marcus said, "but I think it goes both ways. We misunderstand civilians. We forget they didn't go through what we went through. They didn't come home carrying what we carry. But then a 7-year-old girl salutes you like you're worth something, and you think, maybe we both just need to look a little harder. Maybe we all just need to be seen." "I was nervous when I first joined," Cody said. "I wasn't military. I felt like I didn't belong. But Dale told me, it's not about where you've been. It's about what you do now, who you protect, who you show up for." He looked down at his handlebars. Lily showed up for us every single morning for 2 years, before we ever showed up for her. He shook his head. 7 years old, more loyal than most adults I know. After the story spread, something shifted in the town. People who had once crossed the street, when they saw the Iron Patriots, now nodded. Local businesses started putting Iron Patriot stickers in their windows. Not because they were told to, because they wanted to. A local school invited 3 club members to speak to students about veterans, service, and community. 40 kids sat in a gymnasium and listened to 3 big men in leather vests talk about what it means to serve something bigger than yourself. One teacher said afterward, "Those were the most attentive I've ever seen those kids in my entire career." Sarah James was back home. She was managing well. The support was still there, different forms, same intention. And Lily was back on the driveway. Purple backpack, pigtails. Gap-toothed. The same and different. The engines came around the corner. The whole line of them, same as always. Lily raised her hand. That perfect salute. 47 salutes. Back. But this time, the neighbors were on their porches. Harold, the Korean War vet. Mrs. Calloway. The family from the blue house. The couple from the corner. They were all watching. Some of them were saluting too. She touched it. Then she picked up her lunchbox. And she walked to the end of the driveway to wait for the bus. Smiling. Not alone. Never alone. Lily James. Purple shirt. Tiny helmet. On the back of Dale Mercer's motorcycle. Both of them looking forward. Underneath it, someone had written in marker. She saw us first. If you believe that real strength means protecting those who can't protect themselves, subscribe to this channel. Because that's all we talk about here. Drop respect in the comments if this story moved you. And if you want to share this, share it for Lily. Share it for Daniel. Share it for every person who has ever felt invisible. Because someone is always watching. And sometimes, they stop.